Hello, everyone. Welcome to their Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Tonya Davis. Miss Tonya is a dynamic and accomplished individual who has made significant impact in both dancing and entertainment industries. Her journey began at the tender age of 6 when she discovered her passion for dancing, which has been the driving force behind her success. It is this success that has led her to develop her Pursuit of Happiness program, helping women business owners thrive and expand their business with confidence to live like a boss babe. She is a mindset and career coach for women. Thank you so much for being on the Spiritual Spotlight series today.
For having me.
Rachel clearly is having some tongue-tie issues, but that's okay. When a lot of energy is coming forward, it's hard for me to keep up. Which one of the things that you say is, are you ready to move through your energy with flow and thriving?
Yes. Like we're just gonna keep it with the flow and everything is gonna thrive.
You can be like, okay, Rachel. So your journey is incredibly diverse, ranging from dancing to producing theater shows and working in the entertainment industry. Can maybe you share a pivotal moment when you realized that your passions were aligned with a higher purpose and how it led you to develop your Pursuit of Happiness program for women entrepreneurs?
Oh man, I feel like there were several pivotal points for me when it
She's
comes
like, let
to
me go back
like
to when I was six.
you know, it's like when I was younger, I felt emptiness, to be honest with
Aw.
you. Yeah, and it wasn't until college when I
Oh,
fell into a depression. Um, because I was pursuing something I did not want to pursue.
yeah.
And in that return, I did some inner reflection. And it was like, what do I want for myself? Like, what makes me happy? And that actually happened when I was 25. And I just made that decision. You know what? I'm going to start living for me. And in that process of living for me, that's when I just started discovering so many things that women are going through. And,
Yeah.
it's not a thing of the past, like it's not just in the history books. It's like, whoa, reality of what's happening now and the limitations that are put on women and the
Yeah.
perceptions that are put on women. And like, there was a point where I was homeless for 4 months. And that experience there, like being a single woman with no children, was one of the pivotal moments. So that's like two right there,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's like
Feeling
the
empty
two.
before you got, yeah. Yeah.
And it was my mindset that actually got me out of that.
Oh.
And that was probably the biggest point right there,
Mhm.
was realizing that it's here and that we have the ability to change our perception of how we see ourselves to thrive.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we're not supposed to struggle. We're supposed to be happy. Like, this is our life. We're supposed to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, and it was that. And I was like, I want to uplift and support women. And I
Yeah.
did that in different ways. I did it through my messaging, through my dancing,
Mhm.
and even when it came to like my team, and I wanted to get in really deeper
Yeah.
though with women. And that's when it was like, let's do this mindset. And I got certified as an EFT tapping coach. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
Yes.
EFT tapping.
But tell the listeners, what is EFT and what is it about?
Oh yeah. So EFT, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and it does exactly that. It's a combination of Chinese acupuncture and modern psychology. So just like, most people, you're familiar with Chinese, acupuncture, and it
Yeah.
focuses on like meridian points. We
Mhm.
have over 2,000 in the body.
Just a
But
couple.
EFT, I know, right? It's a lot of points there. It only focuses on about 9 of those points. And instead of sticking a needle in those points, you would tap those points,
Mhm.
So you would tap like the side of your hand, you got your head, you got the eyebrow point. So you tap these different points to stop the distress signal that your
Mhm.
brain is sending to your body whenever you're under anxiety, whenever you're worried about something.
Yeah.
Your brain sends the signal that you're in physical danger, like a tiger is chasing you. So yeah, exactly. Like that's exactly what's happening. Like you could be stressed at work and your body believes that you're in physical
Yeah.
danger. So EFT actually stops that from
Mhm.
happening. And then the body is like, oh, I'm safe. I'm secure. So
I,
yeah.
did you do mindset training before you did EFT, or did you do EFT before you did mindset work?
I did EFT before I did mindset.
Interesting. It's good though for like you said, it's I've seen EFT for abundance, EFT for weight loss, EFT for I mean really anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's even
amazing.
been shown, I think, for pain. Like people are using it for pain, and I
Yeah.
didn't study it on that level, but
Mhm.
I was just like, I'm gonna stick with this side of it right here.
I love that. So, with your background in EFT, it plays a role in helping women release anxiety and embrace happiness. Can you maybe share maybe one of your clients has had a positive, transformation by doing the EFT practices?
Yes. So oftentimes my clients, they are, a particular profile. They're a one-woman show, and typically when you're a one-woman show, because I've been there,
Yeah.
you have trust issues, which
Mm,
in return is control issues. And this in return can cause a high turnover rate, when you
yes.
don't realize that you're holding on too tightly, to certain things.
Mhm.
And what we would do before we do the EFT tapping, I have, my clients go through their history.
Right.
It's like, when did the first time you ever feel this need, like you just distrusted people?
Mhm.
Like, when did that start?
Mm,
So it does require, like, what some people call shadow work, where we have to go back to the past to see where did this emotion stem up from.
right.
And it's like, oh, like it was just like a light bulb for her when she realized it started at 15. And she's 43, and she is 15 is when it started.
Yeah.
So right there is where we start tapping out those emotions that are
Mm.
associated with that memory. And I promise you, within 2 hours of us finishing, she now has like her new administrative assistant. They're like buddy buddies. She
Oh.
loves her. Like they just like the relation, it just melted
Yeah.
together
That's
like
amazing.
perfectly when she just released, that aspect. She was
Yeah.
able to welcome in her in a different way.
That is amazing. So
Yeah.
let's talk about so your work focuses on helping, women entrepreneurs transition from, like you said, the one woman show to embracing their boss babe mentality. Can you maybe share another success story of a client who transformed their business and personal mindset through your coaching?
Okay. So this particular, she, it's so funny.
I
She
love you
does
immediate. You're like,
lashes.
uh-huh.
She does lashes. And that's like a very like, technical thing.
Yeah.
And she had been doing the same routine for 6 years. But the thing is that she needed another technician to come in.
Yeah.
But to her, she was the only one who could do it right. Like
Yeah.
she was
Oh,
the only one.
control. Yeah.
Control. I promise those are the two main things, that are
Mhm.
just stopping. And it was like nobody can do it like me. So it was just like, okay, I've been doing this for 6 years. And now it's like, okay, well, if you really want to be boss babe, if you
Yeah.
really want to live this life, you got to be able to let this go and run your business from a different space. Like she hadn't
Yeah.
been on vacation in like 6 years. So that was like my goal. Like that was my milestone goal for
Yeah.
her. I was like, we're going to get someone in there where you can go on vacation. 30 days later, we gave it a month. I was like, give it a month. And she was out in the Bahamas enjoying herself while her manager and new technician were in her space, and then she
Making her
has like
money.
making her money and her shop is running perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But it's like she had to experience that.
Mhm.
She had to like literally get out of there
Yeah. Yeah.
to experience like, hey, everything is going to work fine. This is why you have a manager there. This is why she's there. If something
Right.
comes up, she can handle it because she's your
Absolutely.
manager to manage. Like, you have to like start breaking.
You're like, let me walk you through here, ma'am. Why did you even hire the manager if you don't want her to manage?
and it's like she can hire a receptionist. She
Yeah.
knows the role. She knows she can train. So even that, letting go of that, it's like you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
She has that. So it's funny, like I'm saying it and I'm laughing, but it's like it's these little traumas,
Right. And they don't
that
realize it. They don't realize they're holding on to it.
yeah, the attachment, we have so many different terms of how we want to say it, but yeah, they're just holding on to it.
Yeah.
And it's like as soon as you let it go, then the natural flow can happen. It's like flow is natural.
Yeah.
We have a tendency of stopping that flow because
Mm.
of our resistance.
Yeah, and because of our mindset beliefs. A lot
Yes.
of it comes down to our this is a ingrained mindset belief that you have that is stopping this flow. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it all starts there, right?
Yeah.
Our thoughts determine our behavior. It determines
Yeah.
our actions. It determines what we do. And it's a little scary. I don't know. Like Malcolm X is,
Mhm.
I always said he said it the best. When he said, take the mind, take the body.
Oh,
Just like
yeah.
that. And it's like, yep, he's right. Because if you program how people think, you program how they act and treat each other.
Absolutely. And I like that, in your journey, you've had a very diverse background. And you said, that you had a period where you felt empty and you felt, maybe even like lonely. And it's interesting because for me on my spiritual path too, feeling the same thing. And I went to mindset first as well. And and it's just I don't think people realize how, like you said, how much your thoughts can just block that flow. And you've already brought up two examples of women entrepreneurs who are successful but aren't going to their next level because there's something blocking them. Yeah.
Yeah, like they plateaued, and
Right.
I think a lot of people experience that in different aspects of
Absolutely.
their life. It's like,
Relationships. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, okay, what's happening
Yeah.
now? Like, and you're just stuck there. And
Yeah.
I think as like just as people, we always want to get higher. Like we're always
Yeah.
seeking something higher.
Breaking
And
that ceiling. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, okay, well, I achieved this, and you know what? I'm not feeling so good right now.
And I also wonder, also with mindset and with your program, also people are afraid of change. They're comfortable with being uncomfortable, and you also have to help them reprogram that as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know how, because the way I see my clients is that my clients are helping me.
Yeah.
I see myself in them,
Mm.
and it's like it's the only way that I can communicate because it's
True.
like, yeah, been there. And that is so true that it's, ah, how do you say this?
I mean, for me, like I've seen it because I do readings and I do sessions. I read the Akashic records and I do healings, and you find that people are okay with their not so safe situation and their toxic situation because it's security to them, and they don't see that there's an external, there's a whole other world that's outside of them because they're stuck in this, and I find it very interesting, like for you, EFT practices, mindset training, doing this pursuit of happiness coaching program helps them to shift like, hey, no, this is a big world. And I love that you talk about flow because I'm always like, I want to have a life of ease and flow, like surrender to flow,
Yes.
surrender, yeah. Listen, I'm speaking
Surrender
your
means
language.
that resistance, right? But for
Yeah.
me, I say it's either fear or love.
Yeah. Oh
I'm like, you're
yeah.
either living in fear or you're living
Yeah.
in love. And when we get comfortable, we're comfortable living in fear. We're
Yes.
comfortable living that because that's what also society perpetuates.
It does.
Society perpetuates that struggle.
Mm.
They perpetuate this idea of this is how things are supposed to
Yeah.
go when it's like, but everything
Is
is
it?
good. So if everything is good, then everything I experience should be good.
Right.
So if it's not good, then what type of force am I moving through then, And I just have them break it down to that. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's either love or it's either
I
fear.
like that. I like
Only
that.
way that the two emotions go, you're either moving through this or through this.
And also, like, you're working with high success, you're working with successful women, and it's also like you said, just being a woman in day to day, the stigma of, you're a boss, like, oh, I can't speak my voice, I can't, hold people accountable, I can't, oh, because you're perceived one type of way. So I see you, like, it's like you have to work through so many different layers. Like, it's got to be, sometimes it has to be like, guys, let's catch up. Like, you know
You
what I
know,
mean?
I don't know. For me, I guess because I look at how long it really took me to do
Yeah.
like some deep healing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I think, people, when they think about mindset, they think, oh, you do this and then things instantly happen. And it's
No.
like, dude, it
No.
took me like 10
Mm-mm.
years of going on this journey, and it's like your soul is going through this process.
Yeah. And you're still
And
going through it.
and it's still going through and
Yeah.
it's like it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's like I'm going for my end point and I'm gonna keep going
Yeah.
whether you want to go or not. But yeah, and the higher they are, I feel sometimes the more they suppress
Yes.
because they
Yes.
have to put on this air. And some of them, I don't like to speak ill of men, but some of them have acquired this masculine energy
Mm.
because they feel like they
They
have
have
to
to
portray
present
to
it.
be tough.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
got to
like that
present it.
image, that
Yeah.
corporate male
Yeah.
image. And
It's
it's like,
true.
no, you are a woman.
Yeah.
Embrace that femininity.
I
Like,
love it.
embrace that. That is
Yeah.
what makes you a great boss. Like,
Right.
it's because yeah. And it's like, dude, like you totally like abandoned like your feminine side because you're trying to portray something that you're not.
Absolutely.
It's like we all have masculine and feminine energies. Like
Yeah.
we have that, but then it becomes out of whack sometimes with some of them, and they like go straight to the masculine because they believe that's power and that's
Yes.
respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. That's so true. So let's talk about your Pursuit of Happiness coaching program. So it blends business strategy with spiritual well being. Can you maybe elaborate on the concept of divine triangle strategy and how it empowers women to cultivate not only successful businesses, but also a sense of joy, love, peace, and happiness in their day to day lives?
So it's kind of like almost has like a triple effect here.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
So
I mean,
I'm
I like the divine triangle. It sounds like, oh, it's like Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Like that's what I immediately go to.
Gosh, yeah. So it's that concept of
Yeah.
three, So it's the concept of mind, body, spirit,
Oh, I love
right?
that. Hmm.
So with the body, me being a dance artist, I believe in the healing of movement.
Yeah,
Like and technically it's been proven that we do need to move our bodies. We have to
absolutely.
stay healthy, this is necessary.
Hmm.
And also being active changes your energy. It
Yeah.
changes your energy flow, especially if you're stuck, you know.
Yes.
So it's a matter of getting, okay, our thoughts and feelings, because that's all in the mind,
Mm,
aligned with our action, which is represented by the body, which is the spirit, which is represented by our purpose.
yeah.
So then that's where the two effects come in. So mind, body, spirit, but then all of a sudden it goes into how these thoughts align with our actions to fulfill our purpose.
Mm.
But then also, yeah, exactly, right?
Like,
Also, it relates to their business.
yeah.
So their body is their team and they are the mind.
Yeah.
And based on what they do is going to determine how their team expresses
Mm.
their purpose, their spirit.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I don't think bosses realize like certain things that they do will affect the mood of their team
Oh, yes,
because
it
they're
will.
yeah, right? Like it shows.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, you're the head here, okay? This is your body, which is your team, okay?
Yeah.
And they have to be that fulfillment, that expression,
Yes.
that purpose that you want
Hmm.
to your customers. So it has that three effect. So
Yeah.
it's like three, three, three.
You bring up such an interesting point about the energy that an entrepreneur or business owner sets. I actually run a doctor's office, and we've had a lot of high energy patients and clients. And so everyone's feeling a little, I call it compassion fatigue. we're just feeling a little beat
Mm.
down. And I even just said to, because we have a lead physician, I even said to him today, I was like, I'm not loving the energy. I'm not loving the energy. And he said to me, even, and he's not spiritual like I am. And he even said, you're right. Energy does seem a little low today. So, I mean, but it's important to us to set the energy, set the tone, and how we hold ourselves and how we present ourselves to the team. It matters. And I don't think people realize how much even just you frowning or being stern or overly masculine, it weighs on your team.
It weighs on your body, right?
Yeah.
And even that, just for us personally,
Yeah.
like, like our stress, it weighs on
It
our
does.
body.
It does.
It manifests physically. Like I saw somewhere where, like, every time we speak, an atom moves, like, in our body. I'm like, what? Like, things just start shifting, like, based on
Yeah.
us speaking. That's why it's important to watch your tone,
Yes.
because I've had, oh my gosh,
I'm like,
this
oh God, tone. Oh my goodness. Tone. Even my son's like, don't speak to me in that tone.
I mean, and it's like, dude, like, and it's like, you wouldn't want someone speaking to you that way, because
Yeah.
it shifts how you feel.
And it's just how you
And that,
react. Yeah.
exactly, and that is the cause of all reactions, right? Like, it's going to cause, if you say it this way, it's going
Yeah.
to cause this reaction. If you say it this
Yeah.
way, it's going to cause this reaction. Like, I had one person, she would question her employees in such a way that I was like, okay. She would be like, so what about that was wrong? That's what she
Oh,
was saying.
oh
And
no. Oh my
and
gosh.
she
Even you
would
just saying that.
swear.
I'd be like, it
She
was
would
nice working with you.
swear it was
Bye.
okay. And I'm
No.
like, dude, I was like, okay, so even though you didn't say it with an
It's
attitude,
coming across aggressive.
it's so hard, like, that's mad aggressive. And I can get real with them and just be like,
Really?
yo, you were wrong for this,
Help me
right?
to understand your thought process. It's basically just saying, okay, assholes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cuss.
It's the truth, right? But in
Yes.
her mind, and we got down to the nitty gritty. In her
Yeah.
mind, things were just supposed to be done because it was a medical space,
Right.
things just had to be done in this particular order. And for
Right.
her, it was like this was a safety issue. This was like sanitary issue. But the reality is, no, actually, it wasn't.
And not even that, you
There are
can question people differently regardless of the environment that you're in.
exactly.
Yeah.
You can definitely question people differently. So it's the matter in which we speak to each other, and
Yeah.
I gave her one assignment. I was like, look, when you go back in, I want you to see everyone
Mm.
as if they are there because they genuinely want to help people. They
Yeah.
genuinely care about people. And I
Yeah.
want you to see them through the eyes of love.
Oh. You said love
And
or fear?
it's either love or fear,
Yeah.
and it was her fear that something will go wrong
Mm.
that causes her to be aggressive that way, because
Yeah.
she has that fear, like, something's gonna happen if
Right.
it's not done this particular way.
And I feel like with that fear, you're perpetuating, you're calling in that energy to bring that onto you. And it will eventually happen, you know?
Yes, can we, like, high five right now? Yes, like, yes, that's exactly it. That's exactly it, right? Because I know some people, this is another reason why I call it the divine
Yeah,
triangle, because I believe the divine is within us. I believe that
absolutely.
power is within us,
Yes.
and I've had some people who are really extreme Christians, like, come at me for, like, oh no, it's like trust me, God is within. I talk every day to
100%.
God.
100%.
It's
Listen,
like,
we can have another podcast about entitled Christians. We can leave that for another day. Thank you.
I like that title.
Me too.
But yeah, and it all comes from judging,
Yes,
like, when
and
you
the
think
thing
about it.
is there's one thing about you can judge and use your discernment, But there's another thing to throw judgment on others and press your beliefs and your judgments onto someone because you feel better than. Like that's where we're good.
That's where, yeah, that's where it crosses
Yeah.
the line. That's where you get into, like, I don't know if you've studied like the matriarch period.
No, but tell me.
So when I was doing like out on this quest, on this feminine quest,
Yeah.
I was looking up different matriarch experts.
Yeah.
And I remember, I wish I remember her name, but she was a doctor, and she specifically said, matriarch means power from within, and
Mm.
patriarch is power over others. And she was explaining, how a lot of the organized religions
Yeah.
came through the patriarch system, where they
And
believe
not.
in God over
Mm.
man and man over woman. That's when that started happening. But before, they believe in nurturing from within. Yeah, it's like they consider like your social, your mental. You could believe in a tree god, and they would be like, okay, as long as that gets you to that level of consciousness, where
You're
you're not
good.
and you're not harming yourself,
Yeah.
it's good, so they cater to that,
Yeah.
and I feel like right now, I don't know if you're noticing this shift
Yes, I
that's
was gonna
happening
say
in
that.
our.
I was like, oh my gosh, because you're bringing up such a valuable point. Because with the patriarchy and the external is going from the matriarchy to internal. Love that. Oh my gosh, you're speaking my language. But
Dude, I just got goosebumps, no lie, like, I wish you could see, like, the goosebumps. I'm like, it's
it's
been
so true.
confirmed.
We're
Like,
so
this is
excited. We're like,
a lot
yes.
of people are wakening up to this
Yes.
now. They're going within, and they're not understanding. They're shifting to a
Yes.
matriarch to where it was at the beginning,
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, this is why this war is happening,
Yes.
because
And it's
it's a
this, you're
war.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
It's a separation between those who wish to awaken and ascend and move forward and those that want to be stuck in the matrix. It's a very interesting stretch of energy. And for us that are, welcoming this energy, we also are holding compassion and healing and space for these that don't want to quite wake up.
What's interesting about that. So I was thinking about like the yin and yang symbol,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How it's just black and white,
Yeah.
right? There's never gray because they
No.
never mix. If they ever mix, we would see gray in there.
Yeah.
So it's like love and fear. They exist all the time together. They're the two powerful forces,
Right.
but they don't mix.
Right.
If you're filled and living through fear, love cannot come
Get
in.
in. True.
But if you're living through love, fear cannot come in,
No, because you're gonna be too
and
high of a vibration. It's gonna be, yeah, you're
exactly,
totally different.
you're totally different.
Yeah.
But here on Earth, we're not all separated,
No.
It's like we're all intermingled.
I'm like, I don't want to be in the gray.
Like we're all intermingled, and some are living a consciously life through love, and
Yes,
some are living consciously through fear or unconsciously through fear,
true. I think
you
also
know?
unconsciously, absolutely.
And that the unconsciously is
Mhm.
very scary.
Yes, yeah. We're just gonna leave it there.
Exactly. It's just, yeah, right? Because that's
It's like
dangerous.
there's some people, and the thing is that because for, maybe for us, we are like, we're gonna let them live their journey because we're not gonna go into judgment. That's gonna lower our vibration. It's gonna change our mindset. Like, everything that you're teaching. I want to be a high vibe lady. I want to be a boss babe. And I want to, you know what I mean? I want to empower my team. And I thank you, love them from afar.
Yes. And, I think that's one of the things women really do have that capability of doing. We empowering. You
Yes.
believe in that power within them.
Yes.
You believe in their capabilities. It's like, look, I trust you. And like to hear that, to have your employees from your owner be like, I trust you to do this. And
Yes,
if you
you
have any
empower
questions,
them.
yeah,
Yes.
empower them,
Yes.
encourage them, uplift them,
Yes.
and it's like you should understand that. I feel as an entrepreneur, I
Absolutely.
feel like you should really, what it is? I think people lose that sense sometimes.
You're right. They do. And I feel like if more people, and I love that you're talking about the matriarch and going within. If more people went within and connected with divine or whatever higher source, then they would use that energy and that power to empower others. And I think we would have less quiet quitting, and we would have less people who are just like, I don't want to work anymore. Because they would work for leaders that actually supported them, believed in them, championing them on their journey. Because for me, I'm only as strong as my weakest link in my office, so I want everybody to be set up for success. It's super important to me.
And that's the beautiful thing, is that you want everyone to
Yeah.
succeed,
And I
and
feel like because of
unfortunately,
the feminine, like the matriarch side,
right,
that's what I'm feeling it's
right.
coming from.
It's hard and sad. It's like, dude, like, and then this concept that of getting where you have to get on your own.
Yeah.
Sometimes that it does kind of hinder women back, because they
Yes.
had to do it on their own.
Right.
Because the look of like, what, like, no, you need to be doing this, like, you're a woman, like, no, you should be having babies by now. Like, I'm 37 with no
Married. Yeah.
children, and
Yeah.
it's like, I
Take
just
your
like,
judgments off of
yeah,
me.
yeah. And it's like, they're overcoming those judgments,
Yes. Yeah.
that they had on them. And it's like, dude, like, just turn it back in. Like, like,
Absolutely.
let your purpose, let your
Yeah.
spirit, like, help guide. I always say we're co-creating with God.
We are. We're co-creators. We are active participants in this thing called life. And you can
Yes.
choose how you want it to unfold.
Exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
look, just be like, God, let's co-create my business plan together. And God's
Amen.
gonna be like, let us create your business plan. Like,
Yeah.
let's do this.
Amen.
Like,
For days that I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm like, okay, I'll pray, and I don't have to be connected. I'll pray. I'll go within. God, give me one divine aligned action that I can do today. Just one. Just one. Divine aligned action. Just one. I'm good. Then I know I'm moving somewhere.
that daily talk.
Yes.
Earlier, I was trying to talk with a friend, and I still felt something wasn't right. I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
So one of the things I do turn to, which I encourage everyone who's listening to
Yeah.
this, is to turn to a journal and a
Oh,
pen.
yes. Yeah.
Like, I practice silence for a minute,
Mm.
and then I just started writing. And
I
as
love
I'm
that.
writing, like, a comforting message started coming out. It's like, you are always being guided. Everything I like, and it was just like, holy shit. Like, I got so
Woo! I
emotional.
just felt that chill. I felt that energy come in. Oh, I love that because you were channeling. You were channeling. I love that. Oh,
Exactly. And it's like, it was just coming out on the paper. And then
yeah.
the next thing I know, I click on this email. It's one of the mentors I follow. His name is Scott Hang. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you've ever heard of
Mm-mm.
him. But he's one of the people I look up
Yeah.
to. And he had this thing about releasing the law of capacity,
Yeah.
about releasing in order to
Hmm.
receive. And it was exactly the message that I needed to hear, to get rid of that feeling that I was feeling before,
Love
that
that.
your friends try to help you, but then it was like, girl, have a conversation with God right now,
Yeah.
because
I love
and I
that.
think that's what we forget. We
Yes.
turn to external sources because of that concept of, even God being outside of ourselves,
Yeah.
so sometimes we tend to turn to other people, and it's
Right.
like, just go within.
Just go
And
within.
it can, yeah, go
You're right.
within,
It's
and then
so
you'll be
true.
guided,
Yeah.
like, into what to do to get the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened, like, right before I got on this call with
I
you.
love that. Oh my goodness, I love that. So, Miss Tonya, if anyone is interested in booking a session or taking any of your amazing courses, classes, workshops, everything you have going on, where is the best place to reach you?
Oh my goodness, it's my website, www.mstonya.com. That's M as in Mary, S as in Sam, T as in Tom, O as in Orange, N as in Nancy, Y as in Yellow, A as in Apple.com. I actually have a mindset course that's launching this Friday. So it's funny that you
Amazing.
said that. I'm so excited.
That's amazing. Oh my goodness. Okay. So by the time that when this airs, the mindset course will be up and running. So I encourage everyone to check out that mindset course because I'm telling you, I've been on the spiritual journey a long time. And really for me, it came down to mindset and I did this love and above course. Like it was mindset, mindset, mindset. And I really learned how to shift my vibration, shift my thoughts. And this sounds like exactly what you're doing, which is phenomenal. So, Miss Tonya, thank you so, so, so much for being on the Spiritual Spotlight series. You are a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.